The Twins wrap up their series against the Dodgers tonight, and Kalshi can take your viewing experience to the next level. By using code FANARCHBASEBALL, you can get $10 when you trade 10. So shout out to Kalshi for sponsoring today's episode. But what's going on, Twins fans? And welcome back to another episode of Twins Latest. I'm Sam Calder. Hope you are all doing well. We've got a fun, exciting episode on tap for you guys. But before we get to anything, just a few quick reminders. We are on the road to 500 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So if you are not already, please do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button for daily Twins news and updates. If you have a question you would like answered in our next mailbag segment, drop it down below in the comments for me. And if you were listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be sure to leave a 5-star rating. But with that all out of the way, let's get things started. And as always, we will kick things off by taking a look at last night's matchup. Game 2 of 3 between the Twins and the Dodgers, with the Twins looking to even the series up at 1 win apiece. And they did not. They lost by a score of 12-3. So we will keep this pretty quick. The offense just really didn't show up again. Just 7 hits and 3 walks as a team. Not a ton of hard contact either. 2 of the 3 runs scored came on solo homers. Victor Caratini took the Dodgers starter Justin Robleski deep in the second to tie the game at 1 at the time. And then Brooks Lee took former Twin Brock Stewart deep in the 9th. But outside of that, not really a whole lot going on. Byron Buxton had a double that led to another run. But that was it for the Twins offense. I lied in yesterday's episode. Joe Ryan did not start for the Twins. I found out about 2 minutes after I got done recording yesterday's episode that he was scratched due to an illness. So I don't have any more data than that for you in that regard. Ideally, he'll miss just a couple of days, but maybe it causes him to miss his turn in this rotation cycle. I don't know. Anywho, I don't think it's anything super serious, but Kendry Rojas got the start instead and did meh. 2 innings, 1 run on a hit and 3 walks while striking out 4. The command just isn't consistently there yet. Only 50% of his 50 pitches went for strikes. He could not land his slider or changeup, and he needed all 50 of those pitches to record just 6 outs. Austin Voth, I think is how you actually say it, who the Twins claimed a couple weeks ago, looked absolutely horrible. 5 earned runs over 4 innings on 11 hits and a walk for him last night. Not a good outing for him. Travis Adams threw 2 strong innings, but then Taylor Rogers gave up 5 in the 9th. Just not a good night overall for the Twins. And one they will hopefully put in the rearview mirror. They fall to 38-43 on the year, and will look to avoid being swept in tonight's series finale. We will touch on that game here in a few minutes. But shifting gears from yesterday's game, there's a lot of talk right now about what the Twins should or shouldn't do at this summer's trade deadline. Of course, last summer's fire sale, I think, left a pretty sour taste in a lot of mouths, and that's completely understandable. And it's possible that we see the Twins be sellers again this summer. They're currently 5 games below 500 and sport a 19-27 record over teams with winning records. Even if they're not full-on sellers, it's very clear that moves have to be made. And I think the easiest move to make this summer will be trading away Trevor Larnach. There's multiple reasons that I think trading him makes sense. The first being that he is in the midst of frankly, a career year. He's hitting .280 with a .378 on base percentage. Both of those numbers are comfortably career highs. There hasn't been as much power, but his strikeout rate is notably lower. His walk rate is notably higher. There's a lot that Trevor Larnach is doing very well this year, but it's important to acknowledge that he's 29 years old, so very much in the prime of his career. And if the Twins aren't a super competitive team, that's not really a profile that makes sense to keep around. There's also the contract aspect. Larnach has 1 more year of arbitration eligibility before he hits the open market, so trading him now before he hits a contract year would only net more in a potential return. Additionally, if the Twins did decide to trade Larnach, there would be no shortage of names to potentially step up in his absence. Emmanuel Rodriguez is the name that's been on Twins fans' minds for the last 4 months at this point. He's hurt right now, but assuming he's back later this summer, he would likely get a taste of the majors this season. Alan Roden, who recently returned from his own IL stint, has been red hot at AAA all season and deserves a shot. He looked like he was going to get an opening day spot a few months ago, but ultimately did not get one. We've also got the Twins' #1 prospect, Walker Jenkins, and Hendry Mendez as other names who could debut in the second half of the year. And not to mention Matt Wallner, who, albeit, could also get traded himself, but he's still around for the time being. So that's 5 names right there that could be immediately ready to step up should the Twins move on from Trevor Larnach. But my last point in all this kind of ties in with that. All of those names that I just mentioned, Rodriguez, Roden, Jenkins, Mendez, Wallner, and even Larnach himself, are all left-handed hitting corner outfielders. Trevor Larnach, despite being in a career year, does not have enough production to make him completely irreplaceable, especially when 3 of the organization's top 8 prospects are left-handed corner outfielders. If I'm the Twins, regardless of what the strategy is at the deadline, I'm moving Trevor Larnach. There are contending teams that need corner outfield help, and I think it's in the Twins' best interest to try and get something done here. Now, if in a month the Twins are 2 or 3 games above 500, I would definitely have a change of heart, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I think trading Trevor Larnach this summer is about as easy as it's going to get for the Twins. But folks, in case you have been living under a rock for the past 3 months, baseball season is here, and now you can trade every single game on Kalshi. The Twins are trading at 38% probability to beat the Dodgers tonight, meaning a $100 trade pays out $252 if they win. On Kalshi, you are trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position for a limited time. Download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCHBASEBALL to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade on anything. But speaking of tonight's game, we have the series finale between the Twins and the Dodgers. And excuse me, got to grab a little sip of my water here. Got some allergies kicking in here late June. Not fun stuff, but excuse me. The series finale between the Twins and the Dodgers, with the Twins needing a win to avoid being swept. Connor Prelup will throw for the good guys, but he will not have it easy. Not only does he have to face the Dodgers lineup, but he also has to face off against Shohei Ohtani. The National League MVP race over the next 7 or 8 years is going to be so boring because you have this unicorn who's literally one of the best hitters and pitchers in the league. Over 73 and 2/3 innings on the mound this season, Ohtani has a 1.47 ERA with a .88 whip, along with 78 strikeouts to 22 walks, and all of his advanced metrics on StatCast are just bright red. For both hitting and pitching, he gets a ton of whiffs and a ton of strikeouts, but also does not give up much hard contact, and he's getting a lot of ground balls. The dude's got 7 pitches, too. He's got a four-seam and a sweeper that make up 75% of his arsenal, but he's also mixing in a curveball, a splitter, a sinker, a slider, and a cutter. His fastball sits 98 miles an hour, and then his sweeper and curve are at 85 and 75 respectively. So you're seeing upper 90s, you're sitting upper 90s, and then you're just getting a massive speed gap that starts at your head and finishes at your knees over the plate. It's kind of ridiculous. If he's eligible at the end of the season, Shohei might win Cy Young and MVP. The dude is truly incredible. He is the best player of all time. I think that's completely fair to say at this point, and he might do some very bad things to our lineup tonight. As for Prelup, just keep the ball down. I mean, I expect we'll see a lot of breaking balls tonight, even though it's not necessarily a super left-handed heavy lineup. I had a complete breakdown trying to say that. I am slightly worried for him, though. He's been struggling a bit recently, and this is a very talented offense, of course. Plus, we're facing one of the best pitchers in the league tonight, so I will not be picking the Twins. I'm going to say they lose by a score of 8-4 to end the series, and unfortunately, end it on a sweep. I just think nothing about this game lines up well for the Twins, but hey, I've said that before, and they've won, so hopefully tonight is just another example of that, and they do not hopefully get swept. And then to wrap up the episode, we've got our weekly minor league check-in. And I promised and delivered, we've got updated prospect rankings today. I updated my top 30 Twins prospect rankings list. And we are going to run through it right now. Not a ton of massive movement today. It's only been about a month since I last updated these. May 16th was our last update. But we definitely do have some changes that are worth discussing. So I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. The top three remain unchanged. It's still Walker Jenkins, Kalen Culpepper, Emmanuel Rodriguez. Jenkins just got back from injury, and the other two are currently hurt. So they need to get healthy, but for the time being, the podium remains the exact same. Number 4 is where the biggest changes kind of started. Merrick Houston is up from number 6 to number 4 for me. He was just promoted from high A to double A earlier this week, and he's crushing it right now. He's on a very Kalen Culpepper-y track, which is a great thing. Eduardo Tait falls one spot to number 5. His numbers are not strong, but he's still extremely young. He's hitting for more power this year, so it's certainly not all bad, but he fell as a result of Houston jumping up. Henry Mendez is up to number 6. He was number 9 previously. He's still hitting .330 at AAA. Still more walks than strikeouts, a .916 OPS. He deserves a shot at the majors this season, plain and simple. Numbers 7 through 14 in my rankings did not move at all. But with Connor Prelip and Andrew Morris losing their prospect eligibility, everybody in that range has moved up a spot or two. So starting at number 7, we go Desan Hill, Riley Quick, Gabriel Gonzalez, Kendry Rojas, Brandon Winokur, Charlie Soto, Ryan Gallagher, and Billy Amick. I feel like after Rojas at number 10, that list gets fairly unappealing, which sounds harsh, but all of the names after him in Winokur, Soto, Gallagher, Amick have very glaring concerns. Winokur and Amick are striking out way too much. Soto and Gallagher have been walking way too many guys. All 4 can clean those things up, but I'm not loving that range. Kadeem Jow is the biggest riser for me, up from number 19 to number 15. He got promoted to double A last week, and he's hitting 6 for 17 with 8 walks and a strikeout there thus far. He is red hot, and that is massive for this catcher room. 16 through 18 remains the same, just in slightly different spots. Same thing because of Prelip and Morris. It's still John Klein, Enrique Jimenez, and Quentin Young. James Ellwanger comes in at number 19. He had a setback in his recovery from an earlier elbow injury this season. And according to general manager Jeremy Zoll, it's probably going to require surgery. So I bumped him down a few spots for that because that is never what you want to hear with a pitching prospect, or any for that matter. 20 through 25 are all the same. We've got Adrian Bajorquez, Kyle DeBarge, Kyler Fedko, CJ Culpepper, Kalai Rosario, who was just promoted to AAA, by the way, and Jose Olivares. But at number 26, we've got the first of a pair of new additions to the list. Outfielder Yasser Mercedes comes in here at 26. The 21-year-old outfielder has really kind of came out of nowhere this season. He's up at high A currently, and his numbers have dipped a bit, but sporting an .879 OPS on the season right now. Bruin Agbayani comes in at number 27, and then Ben Ross, the other newbie on the list, is up to number 28. Since he got to AAA, his OPS still sits at .862. He's getting on base, he's hitting for extra base power, and playing all over the field. If he wasn't 25, Ross would be way higher on this list. And then to round out the list, we've got Santiago Castellanos at number 29, who's down a couple spots, and then Marco Raya at number 30. I'm very anti-Marco Raya. I'm not afraid to admit that. But there you go. That is my updated top 30 Twins prospects list. Let me know in the comments what you agree/disagree with from this list. But that is all I've got for you guys for this one, so we will end it there. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed, please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not already for daily Twins content. That would be massive. If you have a question you would like answered in our next mailbag segment, drop it down below in the comments. And if you were listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please be sure to leave a 5-star rating. But until next time, I'm Sam Calder, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.